How to heal when you share an office space with your avoidant ex is what we will discuss today in this video. It's something that I see sometimes with my clients. As you know, the best way to heal after a difficult breakup is to go no contact, is to go radio silence. Because when you do that, you create the right environment for you to limit all the triggers. Now, sometimes we can't change the environment and we have to see this person Monday to Friday, for example. And so in this video, I wanted to share with you practical things you can implement today if your ex is a colleague of yours, should you want to heal and move forward after this breakup. So let's define things properly. Your ex is your colleague in that space at the office. That's it. Colleagues. They're not your ex. They're colleagues. You should not pretend they don't exist, right? And I know it's hard. Sometimes you want to ignore them. And as I said, it's the best sometimes. But in the office space, you can't. So the thing is, and the aim is to manage the emotional response, to make sure that you stay professional. And in a way, when you show up in the office, that's the only thing that matters, right? And you'll get that closure, that emotional closure over time. So don't get me wrong. It's harder to heal. It's more difficult when your ex is around. It prevents you and potentially prolong the healing, but it's possible. And I'll share with you 5 steps on how you can do it. Now, if you have a question about your relationship with your avoidant partner, there's an assessment in the description to figure out where you stand, to figure out if you should get back with them. If you could get back with them, it takes about 2 minutes to complete. It's totally free. And the link is in the description. So I see 4 major elements of why the office triggers could be very hard for you. The first element is obviously the visual cues. So as I said, in an ideal world, you would want to block any visual cues. So for instance, if you haven't, unfollow your partner from social media. You don't have to block them, but unfollow them, because that will be another element of another triggering element. The small talk that you can have could feel like breadcrumbs, could feel like they are trying to get something, right? Using the office discussion to get something from me. Sometimes you have the problem of hierarchy where you have to attend the same meetings. Maybe your ex is your boss, or maybe you're, and it's easier if you're the boss of your ex, obviously, because then you can establish healthier boundaries with more ease. The problem that you have is that your brain is really about, I want to break up, I want to move on, but I'm in touch with this person. I have to work with this person. So the point is to find that emotional resilience to gradually transition, because you wouldn't be able to do it with no contact in that stage, to gradually transition from a phase of breaking up to a phase of we are colleagues. So step number 1 is to manage the environment, so the space. So choose a desk that is not necessarily next to your ex's ex. Maybe use your headphones to show that you're busy, you don't want to be disturbed. Maybe you change your routine around personal breaks, whether it's coffee or lunch, and put yourself busy to focus on deep work, avoid any distraction. So all again, what we're doing is the environment, the office space, there are things we can manage. And that's the thing you want to sort of tactically change, whether it's about your schedule, where you work, and so on and so forth. And by doing that, you are limiting the triggers. So in an ideal world, as I said, you should remove the triggers. In the office spaces, we are limiting the triggers. So the step 1 is those boundaries in the space. Step number 2 is around communication, and really have this neutral communication. Morning, hi. Whenever you don't want to talk to them, you can say, I'm a deadline, I'll catch you later. Anytime you have a conversation, it needs to be professional, neutral, action-oriented. You don't want to have a chat just to have, for the sake of having a chat. It's just like transactional. If you need this, I'll get back to you, right? Step by step, and really assessing that it's very transactional. The problem is you have developed with this person a habit of not being transactional. right? Of connection, of closeness, of intimacy. And that's all the things you have to unlearn. And so it's in a way easier to do it in the office space because that person won't ask those things, hopefully, in the workspace. So the point is to learn to do that, and it kind of changing the way you behave entirely with this person, and find this wiring. And the more you do it, the more consistent you are, the easiest you will get. And in a way, speaking this new language and tone with your ex will become a habit very quickly, in less than a month, if you implement those tactics. Step number 3 is about how you manage those triggers. So the nervous system toolkit, as I would refer to. So it's something that I use with my clients in other situations. The first one is the breathing 4-7-8. Breathe in for 4 seconds, then you stop for 7 seconds, and then you breathe out for 8 seconds. That will really calm your nervous system down. Another element is around grounding. So it's touching something. So I'm touching, you can't see, but I'm touching, you're touching your desk, and you focus on the sensation. So that's very interesting. It's something that I use a lot more than mindfulness, because I have a hard time focusing when I do mindfulness. But whenever I'm stressed, I have this cue of touching my thumb and finger. And again, it's really about, okay, how do I feel? And forcing yourself to stop those rumination, to stop hyperactivation of the attachment system by setting down into a sensation. So could be about a sound, could be about sensation, and breathing is also a very important tool. Sometimes people find it helpful to have mantra or self-talk about, okay, take a deep breath. Maybe I have my ritual to feel grounded. And we are colleagues, right? I don't have to take care of them. I don't have to respond to their emotional needs. We are colleagues. The objective here is to drop the level of cortisol, because there's a physiological element to triggering element. So when you're triggered, your body will activate this fight or flight, the parasympathetic response system. The point is, mechanically, by breathing, grounding, cognitive reframing, slowing things down and making it nicer for you to interact with this person. Step 4 is when you have to work with your ex, so not just seeing them in the office, but also collaborate with them. Use email, Slack, written form of communication, way better than let's grab coffee to discuss about this project. Again, it's really about being transactional. So having a structure whenever you have a meeting, whenever you have to deliver something to your ex. When things become personal, it's really about having that sort of reflex. Let's park this. We'll discuss about that later, right? And if you don't feel comfortable being alone with your ex, try to find people. It's always very more comfortable to have people around with you, and you're not the only one face to face with your ex. So that's also another approach and strategy that you could use. Step number 5 is what you do when you go back from the office, when you get back home from the office. And it's having this sort of cooling down ritual. So maybe it's about listening to music, listening to a podcast. When you get back home, or when you're in the metro or the tube, your journal, some things to reflect and brain dump whatever happened, or you send me a WhatsApp if you're a client of mine. There's also an element of stretching, using your body, because especially if you have an office job, or if you're seated all day long, try to go for a walk. Maybe if you go to the office by train or by metro or subway, wherever you're living, depending on where you live. In the UK, we call it the tube. Maybe just leave 2 or 3 stations before and go for a walk for the next part of your journey. And try to schedule something midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, with a friend, doing something, not just going back home from work, doing nothing and watching my videos. That's not fun just to watch my videos. My videos are here to help you, to give you guidance, but that's not what will help you feel better. So it's about actions and things you could be doing. And if you want to play tennis with me, send me a comment and we can play in London. But other than that, I'm not going to help you feel better just by watching this video, unfortunately. I'm just giving you the tools. Now it's your turn to take action and do the work, right? And I trust you can do it, right? It's not a question of whether, it's a question of, okay, this is an insight, this is something that I feel I can relate to. Now, freaking do it. Please do it. So yes, when you share an office space with an ex, it's tricky, it's complicated. The point is to manage your nervous system, have strong boundaries in place. In a way, when you're in the office, the simple language of professionalism makes it easy to have those strong boundaries in place. And look at it as my peace, being calm, is a KPI, and you can measure it the same way you would measure any other KPIs in the workplace. If you find this video helpful, let me know in the comment section. If you want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.